we can talk to Coach Sam Shade about the impact of hosting and what that experience was like going from hosting a SIC championship to the playoffs. As our guest joining the BCSN SportsWrap is none other than the SIC champion and the SIC Coach of the Year, Coach Sam Shade. Coach, welcome to the SportsWrap. Congratulations on the win. How you doing tonight?
Doing great, guys. Doing great, man. Bryan, you and AD, man. I appreciate you guys having me on, and looking forward to talking to you.
All right.
Coach, it's a pleasure to have you on after the big win. I know we're probably, let's see, I'm looking at my watch. We're past the 24-hour rule. So I know all the celebrating is over. And as you coaches like to say, we're on to Valdosta State. But before we get to that, wanted to talk to you about the impact of that game. And as I was just talking about, talk if you can a little bit about what it means to the program, the school, the community to be able to go from hosting the SIC to hosting the first playoff game and winning the first playoff all at home.
Well, it was huge, not only for our football team, but to Miles College, our student body, our alums, our administration, all our fans in the Birmingham area that might not have attended Miles or be Miles College grads, but just, come out and support Miles College football. It was huge. And especially the historical part of it, being able to, it was the first home playoff game in the history of the school, and also being able to get the first playoff win in the history of the school. Just a huge weekend for everyone that's a part of Miles College and Miles College football.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Drew.
Yeah, and I'm just going off the top of my head. I think this is like the third time in the last 10 years that an SIAC school has hosted a playoff game. But I know Tuskegee hosted back during their runs in the teens, and then of course Benedict hosted a game last year. So it's not like when the SIAC does make it in there, they give them out, and we're always hosting. We're always on the road. We're always the at-large team. So for Miles to come from what they did with an 0-2 start to win 9 in a row, and to get to that number 4 line, which is where you need to be to host the game, I just want to tell you, congratulations, Coach Shade.
Thank you so much, AD. And I'll tell you what, I felt like, especially after winning the SIAC championship game, I thought that our body of work basically put us into that top 4 in our region. You look at one of our 2 losses at the beginning of the season was West Alabama. We go down there, we lose. They kick a field goal at the end of the game to beat us by 1 at their place, and they were the 3 seed in the region, and we ended up the 4 seed. So I felt like the committee got it right. I thought our body of work definitely put us in position for that, and it was special. It was special.
Yeah. Now, what I want to talk about, and I've said this the last couple of weeks, this is like the first time pretty much all year that Miles has been relatively healthy, with most of your number 1s actually playing. Your number 2s, who are quality number 2s, got more reps than probably anticipated due to injuries this year. So going through that, having a lot of your original number 1s back and healthy, along with the reps that your number 2s got in number 1 slots, how good is that for you? How well does that prepare you to make a run against a team like a Valdosta State, in which we know that game is going to be physical?
Well, I'll just say this. We still have some guys that when we went into the West Alabama game that was starters that are not with us. We lost a defensive tackle in that game, Javante Cooper, really good player. Hadn't had him since the West Alabama game. We lost a good receiver, an all-conference kick returner, and one of our unsung heroes, Jalen Peterson, broken forearm in the Benedict game. And we actually were without one of our starting safeties, Donshay Gaither, number 45. He had 2 interceptions in the Tuskegee game. We were without him. We've just gotten used to not being as healthy as we want to be. And this time of year, you get to the end of the season, you're going to have some nicks and bruises, and you're going to be without some guys. But you're right about one thing. I feel like it did help us having to play a lot of guys early in the season because of injuries. We were able to get some of our young guys some very beneficial reps that have really played off. So now you look out there, and it doesn't bother me like it bothered me. We were playing Alabama State, and I looked out there at one point, and we had 5 true freshmen out there. They didn't start the game, but they were out there playing at some point in the game. But now I see those guys out there. I tell them, hey, you're not a freshman anymore, man, because you played 10 games. That's a season. So you're really like a sophomore. But I do think it's going to benefit us going into the Valdosta game that we've got so many guys that have gotten reps. And, one of the things about when you get into the playoffs, the Division II playoffs, you can only dress 58 players for that game. So we feel like we've got some guys out of that 58. Everybody's going to play. Everybody's going to have to play, especially going down to South Georgia and playing a Valdosta team that's undefeated, well coached by Tremaine Jackson, who I've gotten to know over the past few years. A really good football coach, does a great job across the board with his players and staff. So we're going to need all 58, and so it did benefit us, the injuries that we had and having to play some of those young guys.
Now, a lot of people know, obviously, that you played in the NFL and had a decent career in the NFL. What a lot of people don't know, like me who lived in Alabama, is that you were a fairly successful high school coach in the state of Alabama. Also, I believe you're at Pinson, one of the schools that you at.
Pinson Valley. I was actually head coach there for 2 years before I took the job here at Miles. We had a pretty good run. We were able to win a state championship in the 6A classification here.
It's a pretty good run there, Coach.
Yeah, the second year we got knocked out in the third round, and but like I said, we had a pretty good run. But I actually had coached college ball. Some people don't realize that I actually, coached college ball for a long time. I was at Sanford for 8 years here in Birmingham as an assistant. I was at Georgia State over in Atlanta after that. And then I spent a year with the Cleveland Browns as an assistant special teams coach. So I feel like I've definitely I've coached at pretty much every level except for Little League ball, because I got my start. I coached middle school for 2 years when I first got into coaching. So I feel like all those experiences have really helped me as a coach. And so when I'm trying to hire coaches, there's certain things I look for that maybe another coach might not look for.
Right. And before I turn it over to Bryan, my friend Antoine Bell said hello. He said you played with his played Little League ball with his brother, and he remembers you when you was out there playing for the Tiny Tots while his brother was playing on one of the other teams. I talked to him last night, man. So.
Oh man, that's I know the Bell family pretty well. My older brother knows Antoine pretty well.
Yeah, go ahead, Bryan.
That's going back right there. Coach, you mentioned the 58 players, and just so I didn't know this, and just maybe so people can know, what is that compared to during a normal regular season game?
Well, actually, in the SIAC. The way that it works in the SIAC, when you go on the road, you can only dress 58 players for a conference away game. So actually, we're fine with that. It doesn't change anything for us, when you go on the road. But the good thing is they only get to dress 58. But in the SIAC, for instance, if we have a home game, we can dress 75, and the away team can only dress 58. But the good thing about the playoffs is they only get to dress 58, which is I think that helps us a little bit, especially against a team like Valdosta, who's got a lot of – they've got some competitive advantages as far as the way they can do things with scholarships and those things. For instance, AD, I know you're probably familiar with the Hope scholarships and things like that over in Georgia.
Correct.
And so that does kind of, I feel like, give them a little bit of an edge as far as being able to have maybe a few more really good players sometimes than maybe we can have, because we've got our 36 scholarships, but we don't have a lot of situations where we can get a kid and he's got a scholarship from the state of Alabama because of, say, the lottery or something like that, because we don't have the lottery in Alabama.
Always interesting when you kind of break down those small little competitive advantages that are kind of ingrained within the various states. Let me go back to the Carson Newman game. Now, that Carson Newman is a name that those of us who have been paying attention to Division II playoffs, we've heard a lot. They've kind of been in the region almost, many years. It feels like almost every year, and they ran a triple option. I don't recall too many teams in the SIC running the triple option. So how did your team deal with being prepared for that particular style yesterday?
Well, first off, my hat goes off to our defensive staff. Coach Chris Shellin, our defense coordinator, Coach Ronald McKinnon, our linebacker coach, Coach Antonio Langham, our defensive back coach, and Coach Eric Phillips, our D-line coach, because we basically had 1 week to prepare for option, and that's tough. I mean, that is really hard. I know when I was an assistant coach at Sanford, for instance, we would play 2-3 option teams a year, and it was hard enough. We would spend half of spring practice on it. We would spend some time in training camp, and then the week before we played an option team, we would spend time on them. So for us to get ready in 1 week, I thought it was a really impressive job by our defensive staff. Not only staff, but our players. Because our players had to play a different game than what we've been playing. We've got these really good D linemen, pass rushers, edge rushers, guys like Jermichael Rogers at DN, all conference guy, Rock Dowdell, and those guys are used to getting upfield and all that stuff. But you've got to play more discipline. And against option, you get too far up the field, the ball's going to be going by you. So, those guys really bought into what the coaching staff was teaching this past week, and we found a way to limit those guys at Carson Newman.
And one last thing about that game, obviously you didn't trail this game at all, even though there was a period where it was tied. And as you're going into that fourth quarter on that final offensive possession, you're running the ball, you're seemingly milking the clock down to try to get out of there. Young man fumbles, and you got a whole new ball game. What's your thought process? Whatever you can share in that moment, those emotions, and how everyone just kind of was able to focus on the moment and stay composed after seemingly one of those disappointing moments where you're thinking, oh my goodness, we're so close.
Well, like you said, actually, I just got done watching the game film and watching some Valdosta film, but on the game film, it was just a situation where our running back, he really, it was just one of those times he was wanting to get the ball and get vertical with it as quick as he could, and he just kind of missed the step, in that, and the way we teach our handoffs, he was kind of in a hurry and just didn't get the ball the way that we teach him to get it, and unfortunately the ball got on the ground, and I was just thinking, man, we got to find a way to stop these guys. That's literally what I was thinking, and also they had a really good field goal kicker coming into the game. He made 2 and he missed. The third one that he missed actually was like a 50-yarder. So I kind of felt like they got the ball about, I think it was the 40-yard line, 42, and didn't want them to get inside the 30 right there. They were out of timeouts, so we felt like they were going to have to put the ball in the air, which they did. And we were fortunate to have one of our guys make a play right there, Malachi Ogden, one of our defensive backs who actually was out for quite a while during the season. He is one of the guys. he was out for about 4 weeks, and we got him back for the Tuskegee game. He wasn't all the way healthy, but he felt a lot better this past game. So he made a play for us.
Nice job. Well, I mean, props to all those young men, especially the defense, to be able to take up the challenge, and to step up in that moment. Looking forward to Valdosta State. You said you've looked at the film, or at least started to look at the film. What's your initial thoughts? Obviously, it's a long way to go, so I know you're not going to give too much of the game plan away. But just what are the things that, when you look at Valdosta State, what impresses you about them? What kind of things are you initially thinking? Okay, we got to pay attention to this. Be ready for this. Your thoughts about Valdosta State?
Well, they've got a great mix of what you look for in players. For instance, up front on both sides of the ball, they've got size. They've got big guys that are athletic, strong, and they can move people on both sides of the ball. And then at the skill positions, they're athletic, they're fast. They've got some talented guys, offensively and defensively. For instance, their running backs. Running backs and linebackers, but their linebackers are very athletic and can run. They'll probably be the most athletic group of linebackers we played against this year. Just watching those guys run, and so that's what jumps out at you first is just their people. But then when you watch them play, they don't give up a lot of big plays on defense. Like I said, I think Coach Jackson does a great job as far as his guys aren't going to beat themselves. They're going to be where they're supposed to be. And, if you make plays on them, it's going to be because maybe one of your guys just happened to make a great one-on-one play, whether it's a running back making somebody miss or whether it's a receiver running a really good route and a good throw, that type of stuff. They make you earn it. You look at some of the scores, they've outscored people. They've scored a lot of points this year. And defensively, they've really held people to a low amount of points. So we got our work cut out for us on both sides of the ball and also on special teams.
And to echo what you're saying, Valdosta is scoring 43 points a game and only giving up 9 points a game compared to you guys who are scoring right at 30 points a game and giving up 17 points a game. But looking at the stats, Coach, the thing that sticks out to me is they're running for over 200 yards per game compared to the 168 that you guys run. So obviously this is going to be one of those games. It looks like it's going to be a physical game. It's going to be in the trenches. And it's going to be one of the games when you drive down the interstate and people won't pass on the left in that particular game. We're going to stay in the slow lane, both teams. But how do you slow that down? You got to cut that 200 in half to have a chance to win, Coach.
Well, I will say this, you take the Carson Newman game out, which is an option team. We feel like since the bye week, we fared pretty well against most running games that we faced. Obviously, we feel like this will probably be the best group we'll face this year as far as guys running the ball. So we feel like if we just do the things we've been doing and, just trust each other and be where you're supposed to be, that we'll have a chance to maybe limit that percentage, that average that they've been getting to. But, we do understand that they're going to make some plays. That's football. They're going to make some plays. And, there are going to be some times in the game where we're going to face some adversity and we just got to, stand up. But we feel like we're taking a really good group defensively over there. So it should be a really good challenge.
Yeah. Now, I probably shouldn't ask you this question, but I've got to ask you this question. There's an opportunity for something historic to happen. And I'm going to say when you guys pull off the upset and Virginia Union pulls off the upset next week for these two HBCUs to play in what essentially would be a Division II national championship game. What would something like that historic be for us as HBCUs, man? I just got to ask because people are already inquiring about it.
Well, I thought yesterday was huge for the two HBCUs that were in the playoffs to win. I thought that was huge. So obviously, if what you're saying happens,
Do it again, Coach. That's what he's saying. He's saying do it again.
Coach say he got his half. So
well, all I'll say is this. I'll just say this to you. You know, you look at the stats from yesterday's game, and actually, Carson Newman they did outgain us in total yards, but we won the turnover battle. We made a couple plays on special teams, things like that, and we were able to find a way to win the game by 1 point. And so for myself, I'm looking at this Valdosta game. If we can go down there and somehow find a way to win, and even if it's by 1 point, it'll be like winning the Super Bowl. So that's the way we look at it. You know, we just take them one at a time, and we're just trying to find a way to win. We're not a style points team. We're not looking for style points. We don't have to throw for 300-400 yards. We don't have to outscore them by 20 or 30. We're just trying to find ways to win the game.
Brian, that was the wrong way to say Coach is not going to take my bait.
Yeah, no. One week at a time, Drew. 1 week at a time. All right, let me wrap it up with Coach with this. I'm just doing a little mileage check here from Birmingham to Valdosta. 5 hours 24 minutes.
It's 6 hours on that bus, Brian.
All right. Well, I know the bus. You know, I know the bus could take a little longer. I'm talking to fans. I'm talking to the fans in the Birmingham Fairfield area, Coach. Let the people in the know what they need to do to get. You know, that the kickoff is what is it 2:00 or is it noon, Drew?
So kickoff is actually 1 p.m. Eastern and 12 noon Central Time down in Valdosta, Georgia.
Okay, so that means, you know, the Golden Bear Nation folks need to get up at sunrise and just get on the road. Drew, you want to, you know, what kind of crowd are you hoping to get? What kind of crowd do you want? It's a nice stadium. There's plenty of bleachers on that visiting side for Miles, those Miles fans, Coach.
And I will say this, having been to games at Valdosta, having lived down in that area, Miles could easily have more fans in the stands than Valdosta State if Miles faithful get on the road, because Valdosta State, despite all their success, does not draw as well as you would think at home. So you could very easily have a home field advantage, Coach, should your fans decide to get on the road.
Well, you know what, AD? I'm looking at it like this. I got a lot of family and friends over in that Atlanta area that are going to drive down 75, man, go 75 south.
3.5.
They're going to be there. So we got a lot of Miles alums over in Atlanta, man. They need to hit the road driving down. We've got folks in Montgomery and Montgomery, Mobile that need to come over and check us out. It's a holiday weekend, and it'd be awesome, man, to have those stands filled. As a matter of fact, weather-wise, it's going to be pretty good because you're talking about South Georgia. No rain in the forecast. And I'm looking for a big crowd. I really am. And I like it for our student athletes because we talk about all the time that these guys are stepping in the arena. And it takes a special person. Everybody can't do it. You know, everybody can't step in that arena on a football field in front of a packed house and go out there and perform to the best of his abilities under different conditions and things like that and adversity. And those are things we talk about. And our guys have really, really – you look at our season. I mean, we played 3 teams for their homecomings, really big crowds, and our guys weren't bothered at all. They like the stage. So, that's just – one of those things. I was like that as a player. So, hey, maybe that's something my players take from myself and some of our coaches on our coaching staff.
All right. Well, again, want to encourage everyone down in the area there in the Alabama area, just the state of Alabama. Go and invade Georgia. Just invade Valdosta State on Saturday, and that'd be a wonderful sight to see all that purple and gold over there rooting you guys on. Coach, any final words or any final thoughts you want to share as we want to give you the last word here tonight? Well,
I just want to say that, man, we really appreciate guys like yourselves and shows like the Black College Sports Network, just, and the SportsWrap. We really just appreciate you guys, the coverage that you've given, obviously not only us, but all the HBCUs for this entire season, man. It's really great. Our players and our fans, they watch. They love being able to obviously see their coach or their players on shows like this. And so I just want to say, during this holiday season, and I'm thankful for shows like what you guys have, because you give us a stage, a platform, and it doesn't go unnoticed or unappreciated. So thank you guys.
We appreciate you, Coach. We
appreciate that, Coach. Appreciate that a lot. Ladies and gentlemen, Coach Sam Shade, Miles College Golden Bears, taking on Valdosta State in the semifinals of the Region 2 NCAA Division II playoffs. Saturday, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central at Valdosta State. If you can't make it, you can always watch it on ESPN Plus, but we encourage you, if you are in the area or if you're in the Alabama area, go on over and see a great football game. I guarantee it will be. Coach, have a great week. Happy Thanksgiving to you, your family, your staff, the players, and we look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday.
All right, same to you guys, and safe travel if you get out to some games during this holiday season.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Coach.
All right.
Appreciate you. All right. Awesome stuff there. Awesome stuff. Awesome having Coach Sam Shade on there.
I will say there are a lot of nice hotels, decent hotels right there in Lowndes County and Valdosta for those who are wanting to travel up the day before or even stay over the day afterwards. Plenty of hotel, decently priced restaurants.
They don't jack up the hotel rates, do they, in that area, Drew, for Valdosta State home games?
It's a holiday weekend. There's really no telling. Plus, let's be real, they're used to Valdosta State being in the playoffs. Okay. So they may jack them up, but you can easily go 20, 30 miles down the road and find something if they jack them up too much.
Right. Okay.
Other thing, it's ironic that the football team is going to play Valdosta State at Valdosta State. If you remember back in the spring, the women's basketball team who won the SIAC also played Valdosta State in the playoffs.
All right. Good stuff.